So today I'm going to show you how I made this fun card, cute little pig with a rooster sitting on top. Inside it says everything is better with a friend, and I'll show you how I did the inside as we go along. So to start out with, I used a piece of white cardstock for my card base that measures 8.5 by 5.5, which will end up with a 4.5 or 4 1/4 by a 5.5 card. We'll go ahead and crease that. And then my first two layers are, I just chose some brown cardstock, which measures 5 1/4 by 4, and then a patterned layer, which is 5 by 3 3/4. And the pattern paper that I'm using today comes from this Die Cuts with a View heirloom stack, and it's huge and it's just full of a lot of fun paper. I won't waste your time going through it, but this is definitely a great one to have. So let's go ahead and adhere our first two layers. Whoops. Gotta be careful with the lighter weighted pattern paper. It wrinkles really easy if you're not careful. Hopefully it'll smooth out here. Looks like it will be fine. Okay. And we're going to set this aside for just a second. And you'll notice on my card right here that it has a flap. And the flap opens to show our little sentiment inside, everything is better with a friend. So I want to show you how I made the flap. So to do that, I took a piece of brown cardstock that measures 7 inches by 3 1/4. I scored it down the middle at 3 1/2. And I'm going to go ahead and just fold that and score it. Use a bone folder to get it all nice and flat. And then this is going to go right here. And I left just a little bit of a border here. So to attach this, I'm just going to use my ATG gun with a little bit of tape. Right about there looks good to me. Just want to make sure actually that you're careful that the very top of it, that's good tape, is up in the crease. And I still want just a little bit more of a border. Right about there. There we go. And then that gives us our flap. And then, before we can adhere this, we also need to do our embellishment, which I'm actually going to wait just a second on that. First I want to show you where the pig came from that I'm using. And it's this cute little pig right here. And it comes from the Country Life cartridge, which is this one. Hopefully you can see that okay. If you turn to page 39 in the manual, you'll see the cute little pig with the little rooster up on the top. And you just follow the steps to cut him out and choose the cardstock that you like. This is what it looks like when you're all finished. You will notice that the little beak right here is really tiny, so I actually just used an orange marker to fill that in because the little piece was just so tiny I didn't want to have to deal with it. So then I have pop dots on the back. I'll go ahead and peel those off. You can stick that on our card. Love this little image, it's so cute. I thought it would be fun even to try it with some patterned paper. Be cute too. Right about there looks good. And then I did a little scallop on the bottom. And before I attach that, I'm actually going to use just a little bit of ink. And I'm also going to ink my card base while I'm at it. Just lightly. This kind of antiques or countrifies it up a little bit. I'll set that aside for just 1 second. A little bit more ink. And we'll go around our card base. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of darkening our image up just a little bit. I normally prefer a sponge, but I've misplaced my last little scrap of a sponge, and so now I'm using this, which yeah, it works okay, I guess. Not my favorite. So I just used brown ink to do that. Put that aside for a second. And then we'll take our little piece here, and I'm just going to use a zig pin to put that on. And this just gives you a little bit more control. Oops. Gonna line that up at the bottom of our little brown flap. And then it gives a place for the pig to look like he's got some ground there instead of just floating in the space. Okay, so after we've finished this part, then I want to do my embellishment right here. And what I did here, I'm going to do a video right after this so you can see, but I made a little friendship bracelet. Now I didn't make the entire thing, so obviously this won't fit around your wrist, but I just thought it was such a cute little decoration. It just blends in so cute with my card. So what I'm going to do is kind of measure. When I completed it, I made sure I had about 4 inches. Looks like I might just be, yeah, I'm okay. I trim it off and grab some Scotch tape. And you want to do this part before you adhere this part onto your card base. So we'll take our little knot, and I actually want to see the knot because I think it's so cute. And we'll taper on. Grab another little piece of tape. Pressing fairly hard because it's pretty heavy when you add that friendship bracelet on. And then it looks like we're good to add this onto our card base. A little extra pressure when you go over the embroidery floss, and you'll be able to get some tape there. I always add a little extra when I'm adding a heavy element so that I'll make sure that it's going to stick to my base. So now we can add her on. Okay. Oh shoot, I forgot to add the brads. Well, I'm going to leave them off this time since I've already adhered it, but what I did here is I added 3 little brown brads, and to do that I actually made a little template. Sorry, my daughter and I have been crafting tonight, so I think some of my things have been shifted around, so I can't find it. Oh, found it. I made a little template of where I wanted my brads to go. So you can do the same thing. And it's made so that it lines up with this corner right here. So you'd line it up right here. Just like, just like that, and then take a pencil. Dot, dot, dot. And then when you go to hole punch, you'll know exactly where those punches are going to be because you'll see the little holes. But of course you want to do that before you lay this down, which I didn't mean to do. And now I don't want to do them because I don't want them to show up on the other side where I'm going to be able to write my sentiment or message or whatever. But since you know what I did on my main one, we'll just skip it for the moment. So then to do the ribbon that goes on here, I have a little piece, and I kind of felt like it just did not match my cardstock, like it's just too light. So what I did was take some ink, the same brown that I was using before, and inked it up with my pad, and just went right on top of my ribbon, on top of the scratch paper. Hopefully you can see that it's darkening. And with just a little bit of ink, amazingly enough, it gets darker. I'll flip it over and do the back as well, because you'll see it when I tie the knot. Excuse me. Much better. I like how darker that is now. We want everything to match when we're crafting, don't we? Set that aside for a minute. And it dries really fast. So So then I'll slip that through underneath my little friendship bracelet, which is so nostalgic for a friendship card, right? And we'll tie a little knot here. And then I'm going to take my scissors and do a cute little tail. I always go the wrong direction. Gotta think for a minute. Hopefully I'm on camera, I wasn't watching. Nope, that's the wrong way, so it's this way. There we go. And then we'll do the same on the other end. And then I'll show you what I did on the inside. So sorry I missed the brads. But that's okay, you'll be able to see on my main example what I did. Here we go. It just looks so cute with that friendship bracelet on there. And such a little blast from the past if you ever made these in 8th or 9th grade. That was when I made them. So then to do the inside, which is our little sentiment here that says everything is better with a friend. So the way that I did that was I took a piece of brown cardstock, which measures 2 1/4 by 1 1/2, and then a little piece of cream color to go on top, which measures 2 inches by 1. We'll go ahead and just stick those together. Going to line it up on the top here because on the bottom I'm going to use my scallop scissors to give it a little bit of a scallop on the bottom. Sometimes these are just so much more convenient. I'm actually going to start right about there. Go straight as I can. And there's a cute little scallop. And then let's go ahead and put our sentiment on there. And my sentiment comes from this Hero Arts pack full of sayings about friends. So friends, and I'm going to use the everything is better with a friend. I think I've used that once before, but I just think it's so cute and that it would go so well with our little pig and rooster. So let me grab my ink pad here. And I'm using my Fisker stamp press, which again I think is one of the best ways to stamp. Know exactly where it's going to go. So we'll just ink up. And center. Perfect every time. Just love, love, love my stamp press. And then to embellish it, I'm going to take a little bit of embroidery floss. Here's a piece that I used when I made my friendship bracelet, so it matches that cute little pig. Let me grab some scissors. Some tape. And we'll go ahead and line some around here. Embroidery floss is such a fun little way to embellish. So I'm going to start by taping it on the back here. That stays where I want it to. Grab another little piece of tape so I'm all ready to go. And then we'll just wind it up. And I like to just make a little X. Just like that. Slide that down just a little bit. That looks cute to me. Go ahead and tape and trim our tail there. And now she is good to go. And I'm just going to stick her on with some more ATG gun tape because I don't want it to be too puffy when I've got an image on top that's going to be puffy, that's popped up, you know. And then we'll just open it up and decide about the center of my flap. So everything is better with a friend. And then there's our flap. And here's our original card. Oh, I forgot to point out that I did take one of these fine tip markers. I just grabbed a brown here and went around my image and made some little faux stitching lines. I just feel like I kind of pulled her together better. So you can do that if you want to. And then I also, before I pull away here, is I took a piece of the patterned paper and lined my envelope. And the easiest way to do that, this is one that I haven't glued down, is to start out by just take a piece of paper, lay it on top, trace